Actually, about planets' placement in the Chalit or Bhava charts, there are multiple types of Bhava charts, firstly, to know that. And they are, in one way, so different that the answer is yes for most of them. Those are not the BPHS one, however. The one that's aligned with Brihat Parashara Shastra is called the Shripati Chalit Bhava. That's a name of a chap. Shripati was the disciple of Parashara. And that one is equal to the Western house system known as Porphyry. The Placidus Western house system is what is used by Professor Krishnamurti in India, and therefore tons of KP following astrologers across India and America. And the Placidus begins the house at the Lagna and goes forward from there in an unequal way, like Porphyry and Sripati unequal. They're all unequal. Chalit Bhava chakras are unequal signs. But the answer is no. In Sripati, the official one, that is not true. It could go the other way. Planets could go either way. In the other systems, for sure, they'll generally go backwards a house, since they start like 15 degrees forward more than we do everything. You have to understand it. I don't know if I should explain it. Well, I've seen your style, so I'll do this. I'll do a little explaining. In the Sripati Chalit Bhava Chakra, which I'm just going to say Bhava Chakra from now on. Bhava, that's it. The houses. It's a house system. The reason they exist is because you're born somewhere on the ball that has what's called latitude, or it's south of the border in latitude. And it's also got longitude from a fixed place so that we can know where you were born. But that latitude is different from the ecliptic of the planets and the galaxy, which is flat. The solar system around the Earth and the Milky Way wing of the galaxy we are in is flat. But the Earth is 23 degrees rotated from that, its axis, and it's spinning and going around the sun. And you could have been born up here. Thus, you could have been born kind of straight up from the galaxy and solar system, or you could have been born while it was down here, and you're straight down. Or you could have been born sort of aligned a little bit, up or down, anywhere. Standing where you were born and taking that around the Earth as the 12 houses, and then seeing equally, and then seeing how, looking through them equally, how much of the sign do you get to see? Because since the whole thing is tilted to you, some signs are going to be like, you'll see a ton, or you might even see 3 signs in the space that should be your 10th house because of the tilt of the solar system.
Well, once again, Mr. GORAVANI, you just answered that question brilliantly, and which brings me down to my next question, which is literally asked with me, and and everybody just wants to know that how do you study a D9 chart, the Nimansha chart, and how do you relate it to your main birth chart?
Well, the D9 Navamsa is equal to the padas of the nakshatras, exactly. 3 degrees, 20 minutes each. 108 of them around the zodiac. So those have their own readings in Nadi Shastra. A planet in this pada, a certain number, reading, and it's very right on. So what they are is the second coloring on top of whatever sign the planet's in the Rasi, in the main chart. The D9 is the second lens. So if a planet's in Sagittarius and Gemini in the D9, it's a Gemini-Arian, Sagittarian effect on the planet that you're talking about. So it gives you a way to fine-tune things. Because 9 is so holy, therefore in the light specter, that many divisions automatically known by anyone who knows divine math. 9 is supreme. So the 9 divisions assigned their natural order from Aries forward at certain places, naturally in the zodiac, and the Equilapadas, they have a lot of strength. The Navamsa is very real, therefore. Reading it as a chart itself, I don't so much do, others might. I know many of the rules where you use it in the other way, like take the person's moon, look in the Navamsa. What lord is it under, based on the sign it is in? Look back in the Rasi. Does that lord associate with Brahman planets or other types? If Brahman, the person will be a Brahman. That's looking to the Navamsa for something and coming back. That I get. Reading it as a chart or any of the Varga charts, I have never really taken to. I have a natural inclination to take to something or I don't. So what I've taken to is Rasi chart, the dashas for sure, and the transits for sure. Ding! That's it. And out of all the dashas, and I've tried and programmed them all, only Vingshotri and Yogini Dasha are really substantial. The other ones are so not that I can't trust them.
Now, my next question to you is something that, not only lovers of astrology, but the critics of astrology ask, is that how come two twins have totally separate lives while they're born on the same day, nearly the same time, and yet they live two separate lives sometimes? What about two people born in the same hospital at the same time, yet have two different lives?
Jyotish is about drawing a chart at the time of birth and place of birth of the planets and then studying that to read effects over the life, and it works. However, in reality, beyond paper and our study of Jyotish are these two beings. Now, do twins have different lives? Most twins have quite the same life for quite a while. They have to wear the same clothes, go to the same school, have the same teachers, be in beds next to each other, be in strollers next to each other. They're called similar names like John and Johnny or whatever. It's, and they see only the other one constantly as the only person they see. And so they have very touched lives for a long time. So that makes sense. And then their lives vary some later, but they remain closely in touch with each other usually, and often have very similar lives, actually, in choices and so forth. But the difference in time between when they came out does usually shift the 64th and finer divisional charts, which shift in very fine timelines. Whereas a degree of lugna is 4 minutes, generally speaking. So the 64 part is finer than that by far. And that then calls the shot, and you see it work out. A guy giving a lecture on Jyotish at a conference I was at said that he timed his cats having a litter, and that they indeed ended up with the personalities told by the 64-part Lord. So that's the only answer to twins, is the 64-part Lord.
Well, thank you so much, sir. Let's move on to the next question. And next question is about the dashas and mahadasha. And I know I have new audience on my channel as well who are just getting a little bit of a grasp of this system of dasha. Can you please explain how one should study a dasha and what impact does dasha really plays in Vedic astrology and the predictive methods?
The dashas are an amazing tool. You drop into this fixed system of lengths of periods that goes in a 120-year circle according to where your moon is in the zodiac. So saith the scripture. You drop into it, and your life, you then have those dashas forward in your life. Simplistic, but it works. It's one of the most amazing, unexplained things on earth, because no one can explain the length of the dashas, where they came up with that. But it works so very well. The dashas are like layers of your onion. You start in one dasha, and you live through that. You're now deeper into yourself. Then you live through another dasha, and you are more of yourself. They are added unto you. You become them. They are the major periods of your life. They are sometimes a marriage that you live through for X so many years. Some dashas are 18 years, 19 years. They are the planet in charge of your life during that time. And where they sit in the chart is how they will do it. So if they're intimidated, you'll feel intimidated. You will adopt the energies of that planet, or it'll be around you. Saturn Dasha can mean something oppressive if it's placed right in your chart, is nearby, and you need to be trapped by this thing for 19 years, whether it's a marriage or whatever. The dashas are the predictive tool of Jyotish. They have multiple layers within each great dasha. It's broken down into 9, and then you can break each of those periods down into the 9 again, and in this way have a number of planets ruling a finer period and predict accordingly. I would say just stick with the 2, Mahadasha and Bhukti, and go with that, and you'll have great success. And what's happening there is those are the planets in charge right now of your life, so that wherever they sit in your chart, that's going to speak louder than anything else. A chart is a whole thing. It's a chart. That's a life. But a life is a long string of events, and at some points you're a fat married person, and at some points you're a thin old person, and so it has all these periods. Those are the dashas. The dashas tell the story of your life by where they are in your chart. So when you look at a chart, it's more like this. As their life goes by, or as the native's life goes by, as your life goes by, the truth in the chart is more like